Hi, guys. Good morning. Today, we're going to be talking about the five basic, I don't know, directions of what I use to build my business. So, if you got a creative business and you want to start making some revenue, stick around. Welcome to Ted Davies Artistry. I am Ted Davies. I am an artist, an author, and a collector. Good morning, everybody. We're live today. I've got a lot of things to cover about how I built my business, and hopefully, it helps you. Make some revenue on your business. Build something that's going to be a legacy versus just a lagging business that's not working. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about Rising Tide Broadcast Network, which we're affiliated with proudly. Check out everything that we're doing on Facebook, on all the YouTube channels that all these different people have. But check out what we're doing on Facebook first, because that's really the go-to. Rising Tide Broadcast Network. See everything that we're doing. TED Talks is a proud affiliate of that, Ted Davies Artistry, and we're here. We're a group of creatives helping creatives build their business. It's education, entertainment, and enlightenment all in one. So check it out 7 days a week. Okay, so we've got a new thing that we're doing right now on TED Talks. It's called Ted's Library. And what we're doing today is we're going to be talking about Grant Lankard for a minute. Grant has I don't know if you can see this or not on this um, page here, a comic book called Beowulf. And it's cool because it's about a teenage girl, a cat, a lazy millennial, which I don't know really any lazy millennials. I have two millennials in my family, my kids, and they're real go-getters. Um, and there's also I think a 10-ton dragon in this. So check out what everything that they're doing with this Beowulf comic. Let me bring it back up here. So I'll give you another couple pictures here. Oops, hold on. Yeah. So I've got 1 and 2 here. I don't have 3. I think that one's still coming towards that. But great artwork. I mean, just really nice stuff. Story's really fun. It's different. It's a different spin on an old character, and that's an interesting thing for a lot of people to look at. As long as the copyrights are available or what have you, and you can do this, you can build it. Um, Beowulf is not a bad storyline. I think it's pretty good. I did actually a full disclosure. I did some pinup artwork on the first book, so you can find that in the comic book as well. So if that's any incentive, but check out everything that Grant Lankard's doing on Kickstarter. And if he is on the chat, if put your link there, good sir. And if not, then I'll add that to the description later. So let's see what we got here. So we tackled that. We got Rising Tide Broadcast Network all set. Today, we are talking, or we're actually sponsored by, let me see where I've got it here, Comics Unlimited. We're going to be doing some major things right now with Comics Unlimited. Oops, as I drop this in my face. Comics Unlimited, this particular um, issue has the story about what's going on with my trip to Hollywood and everything else that's going on with our screenplays and all this stuff for the movie development for my book Retrieve. So check out that. It can be found on Amazon under Glenn B. Fleming's site on Amazon. Of course, Glenn is in the chat. So hello today. How you doing, Glenn? Hey, Eric, what's up, man? How you doing? Check out everything we're doing with Comics Unlimited, because there's really a lot of great stuff that's going to be coming up. And this Thursday, we're going to be talking about the Marvel method of making comics, and how much it's changed. I mean, it really changed everything for us. For me, in my generation, I know in Glenn's, and just a lot of really great stuff that came out of the Marvel method. So check out everything that we're doing on that on Thursday at 10 o'clock. So, okay. So what is the thing I want to talk about today is revenue. What is revenue? Revenue is a substantial amount of income to a business entity. whether it's a sole proprietorship, a corporation, whatever, however you structure it. It could be an LLC here in the States. It could be, there's a lot of different things. I don't know how they structure it in the UK. Um, but for a lot of us creatives, we use sole proprietorship at the beginning. And that's pretty much, you can check out with an attorney about all this stuff on that. I'm not going to tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do on that. Good morning, Brian. How you doing? But revenue it's a means to an end is the way I look at it. It's a means to it's a tool to get to where you want to be or what you want to do. There's a lot of people that all they're thinking about is just, I got to get that dollar, I got to get the money, I got to get the money, and that's fine. But that's not sustainable. I'm in a relationship building business. That is to say that I build clients versus I build clientele versus just customers. I want to have repeat customers or clients. In architecture, that's the way I did it too. To be frank with you, once I was done designing homes, I was out of work. Once I did a design for a couple or a family and that, once the house was built, I was done, moved on to the next thing. So I tried to build a client base so that they enjoyed the architecture and that kind of thing. And maybe they'd remodel or maybe they do an add on later or something along those lines. Well, the same thing goes in business now with my books, with my artwork. It's the same idea. And I stress to you guys that I want you to think about, is this a hobby or is it a business? Some of it's a hobby, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Comic book collecting is a great hobby, as I'm preaching to the choir to a lot of the people here in the audience today, or on the playback for that matter. Um, but revenue is an important thing because it keeps the lights on. It keeps the StreamYard going. Um, Speaking of which, we had we had the internet. That there's really high winds right now. I know the storms are moving in right now. To everybody, Eric and Brian, you guys be safe. I know that Michigan's going to be hit with. We're really going to be hit with some snow downstate. We're up north, so it's kind of funny. We should be getting all the snow, but downstate's getting all the snow. So be careful with that. But if we lose connection or whatever, it's from the high winds, I'm sure. But we did right before we went live. It almost cut off. But I digress. So let me get to my notes here. All right. So one of the first things that I tell everybody, and I've done a lot of public speaking. You'd never know it in this channel, but I've done a lot of public speaking on building businesses and structure and how you've got to first before you do anything. Okay, you got to you love to draw. You've got an idea for a book. You've written a book, whatever. You've got to have a goal. You've got to have a mindset. And I don't mean like a fantasy of what you want. Oh, I want to stay home. I want to write. I don't want to work full time. Okay, yeah. But you need to be specific. Okay, so like our friend Brian K. Morris that's in the chat, the ongoing goal for him is to get Cookie home. And I don't think that's a bad thing. For people that don't know, Cookie is his wife. She works outside the home. And I don't think that's a bad goal. In fact, I think that's a very honorable goal and a very achievable goal. Doesn't mean there's not a lot of sweat equity trying to get that point, to financially get Cookie home. The same thing with Christine, my wife. I look at it from my standpoint of it's a luxury to be able to do what we do. For me to do it full time, it's an absolute luxury, and there's not a day that I don't step back and thank the maker for this because it's a huge it's a huge thing for me to be able to do this full time. And I don't take it lightly. I think that everybody should have a goal though. My goal is to get it to the point where we're sustainable enough that we've helped enough people too building their businesses that Christine and I can do what we want when we want to do it. And that's, very close to being achieved right now. Good morning, Pete. How you doing, good sir? But I think that a goal, the reason why is so important, I can't stress it enough. Before you do anything in business, the goal is the first thing. Why are you doing this? Are you doing it just for money? Are you doing it for a Rolex? Are you doing it for the Tesla? Sorry, Pete, I had to. Are you doing it for what's the drive? why are you doing this? So, and I'm going to do, I didn't have time to do a bunch of PowerPoint and that. So this is my PowerPoint. So goals, goals, goals. Okay. All right. First one. So start out with goals, get your why down, figure out what you're doing. Then then I want you to do is I want you to get it down to, yeah, the Tesla and the Omega, right? Yeah, Pete, that's exactly right. And you can do whatever you guys want as far as your goals. It could be economic, it could be experience related. It could be we want to make enough money to go to Hawaii, or we want to make enough money to get an RV and travel, or whatever. Whatever it is, get that down. Get your dream board together. I know it's going to sound corny. Get your, cut out the pictures, put them up on a board, and look at them every day. Do it to the point where all you're thinking about is getting that to the point where you're not thinking about it. It's already out there, and now you're just going to receive it. You're doing it for fame and glory, Eric. Well, you're there, man. You're famous in this household. I don't know about the glory, but yeah, you're top notch in our book. Okay, so the first thing is you got your goals down. All right, what do you do next? Okay, so you've got this product. Christine's company, Wicked Weeds. Okay, so she does give you, and I'm trying to give you examples besides me and my comic books and my books and drawings and everything. With Wicked Weeds, she has an understanding of herbal medicine, all these things that she can do, tinctures and dry goods and teas, but she's got a formula of what works. And Pete, as well as other people on this chat, know the type of products. Grub Rub, the spices that she does. It's a really good product, and it fits a niche that it's low preservative or no preservatives, low sodium. There's a lot of really good marketing in that. The products she understands, she knows what they are. Your products and services are so important when it comes to business, because that's what your life's blood is, right? So, and I look at this from not just an artist now, but as an author, as a publisher, and it's not an easy thing um, to really. Sometimes I don't like limiting myself to like one product or anything like that. I think that's really dangerous, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But you have to look at it like sometimes it's too much product, it's too many different things, and you've got to balance that out because there's not too many things to where you can do it, because I've seen people do it to where they put so many products out, they bankrupt themselves. They don't have enough means to sustain all that. And I've seen it countless times. I know with some of the companies I worked for, they ended up, these small companies would produce countertops or whatever else, but they couldn't keep up with the demand. And it ended up bankrupting their company because they couldn't get revenue back in because the products weren't completed. Keep that in mind when you're doing something. These are smaller businesses that I'm talking about with you guys, though. Not good morning, Carl. Um, Products and services are so important that you got to get them down. I'm not saying you can't alter them and you can't evolve, but get it down to where um, you have a set almost precision of what you're putting into business after your business is open. For instance, in my business, I've always been doing some type of artwork, whether it's sign making or whether it's book covers. I mean, hell, I've done custom paint jobs on homes, uh, glaze work, all kinds of stuff, architectural work, because I couldn't find people that could do it. And as blunt as that is, but I also had to, and I'm telling you this too, look at what the market's asking for. And I'm not saying for clickbait, I'm not saying for cash grab, but look at what the market's looking for. In architecture, not everybody needed a house done. And after 2008, let me tell you, I pivoted. I was late in my career. I painted houses for years. Good morning, Will, because that's what the market demanded. And I knew I could do something better than what was available on the market. Yeah, it wasn't sustainable because it was only me and a few other people that I could trust. And, there's a lot of things there that, custom glaze work is not all that it's cracked up to be. You make a lot of money, but it's not duplicatable. You're the only one that can do it most of the times. And, or your certain way of doing it. So keep that in mind. Your products can be all about you, and that's good, all about your talent and all about that. But you got to make sure that you have kind of a pivot point. A lot of the products that I deal with, I do several different things. I do books. I do, we do novels. I do comic books. I do artwork, traditional artwork. I do uh, covers. I do, I'll go through but I do a variety of things that I can control, and I can do them in a timely fashion. One of the things that I think that really a lot of us miss the mark, I think a few of us have it down, is merchandise. One of the big things for merchandise is I have somebody else do it. I've got, if you notice on my feed today, teddaviesartistry.threadless.com, that's actually my merch shop, and I'm going to split the screen here in a second and talk to you about that. One of the reasons why I put that up today was um, you really need to look at getting presence on the on the internet, whether it's a website, Facebook, and Instagram. It's a given. You're going to have to play ball on those formats really to start the ball rolling. I really think that Instagram, I think for artists is more important right now. I mean, Twitch, all that you can get into further that, on YouTube, you can find out more about those, but the basics, like I said, 5 basics. Merchandise is so important. So let me split the screen. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So on this, I'm going to go to this a little bit different, but I'm on Threadless, what they offer. And again, you can go to all different kinds of sources. Threadless has worked for me in the past. I've been on here, I think 2 years, 3 years. And it pays. One of the things about it too is that this is open 7 days a week, 600 or 365 days a year. And it's all there. I mean, I'm just showing you the mugs right now, but I've got all kinds of stuff that I can buy or sell on here. I mean, if you want a shower curtain with my stuff on it, you can. Whatever. I mean, that's you know, I don't know. It's just there's so much that you can do with this, and I think that you guys, most of you, like I said, I'm preaching to the choir. There's a lot of you that already know about these types of things, and I think that let's see. I mean, there's not always priced affordably, but when if you're trying to get mass sales in that, it's a little bit different. In that case, it might be a little bit different format that you might want to take to shows and that. But this gives your consumers something to get to right away. That if they want one or two things, if they're buying something for uh, an art lover or whatever, they can do that. They can get on the site. You don't have to even be involved. And that's one of the things I like about Threadless is that whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's a mug, anything they can. I've had people put put stuff on rugs. I mean, you name it. These tikis, the tiki business is booming for me still, and I've been very fortunate in that because a lot of the a lot of the people just really like the tikis that I do. So um, let me go back here. They've got yeah, this is one of the. It's been a, this. I actually sold a couple of these. This is kind of different. If you want to have a blanket made with my stuff on it, you can. It's crazy. I've got people that do that and have done that, and that's kind of nice. Whether you're getting tattooed or whether you're having a blanket on your bed or whatever, there's so many different things that you can do. But what's nice about this is that I don't have anything to do with it. I don't have anything to do with it. I just pretty much cash the check. They end up shipping it. They print it. They do everything to it. So I just think that there's really nothing to be said about not. You need to do it. You need to get a merchandise set up. Do it so that you got good products too. I know that I don't have my coffee cup. This is actually a coffee cup that was given to me by my niece. It's one of my favorite coffee cups. And I know eventually I'm going to be doing a lot of the product placement like Brian does with a lot of my mugs and that kind of stuff coming up soon. But I think that when you look at merchandise, it doesn't have to be cheesy. It just has to be branding. And I'm going to talk about that next. Branding is so important. we are in an industry now that if in any industry really, when you're lost in the crowd, you're lost. You're not going to make any money. One of the things about my branding, as well as like with Brian with the Fez, I mean, the fedora is kind of my thing now. And it's been, I've worn fedoras for years, but with it, we have, I think that one's $14.95 for that, but there's a couple different ones you can get. But this logo, anybody that knows me knows this logo or vice versa. People that I've had other ones that I've tried out and I just didn't really like. This one seems to fit. It just fits the mold for me. But I think branding is the second most important thing. I think that your products also are part of the branding. So I don't really know if you have um, something in mind for a logo. Make it easy. I usually make them one or two colors. Uh, Brian, what was it, Eric? Let me just read this for a second. Oh, thanks, Carl. I appreciate it. Let me go to Carl too. I need a Ted sticker and Ted coffee mug, but no shower curtains. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see what Brian or Eric says here. Zazzle, Redbubble, Teespring, all good sites for merch. You don't have to do anything, just upload. Yep. And that's the key. I'm not preaching for Threadless, but it's worked for me. And I like the fact that, I'm getting paid. I'm getting it. There's a little bit of a delay, because of merchandise shipping and everything else, receiving it. But right now, I mean, full disclosure, I'm getting paid recently from stuff that sold at Christmas time to people I don't even know. So, and that's kind of nice. And it's, you can build a business on that. I haven't been pushing my merchandise as much as I should have been. Maybe we can do that. I don't know. That's a little creepy. Maybe we can do that. But from this point on, I think after, Christine and I've been talking about what we want to do the first quarter of this year. And I think that the merchandise really is the way to do it. And with Threadless, that's one of the things I love about them is that they offer so many things. I mean, and it doesn't matter if you go through them or whoever, but I really like the fact that I really don't need to do anything with it. I put the images up there, I scale them, put them to whatever size, click out what I want, what type of shirts I want, what's available for hats, beanies, whatever, with my logo on it or my artwork or tikis, everything, even canvas prints. They'll do canvas art prints for me that are ready, already framed, ready to go. You can get them shipped right to your home. I just think it's fantastic. And I really think that is the key to one of the variations. And you have to be able to pivot during this course of what's going on right now. You have to be able to have multiple streams of income. So whether I'm doing my books that can be purchased on my website, or we're doing comics unlimited magazines that can be purchased online on Amazon with Glenn B. Fleming. I've got all different kinds of multiple streams of income. And that's how it works. If you put all your eggs in one basket, you could lose the basket. You could drop all the eggs and it could be a mess. So metaphorically, you need to make sure that you've got different types of income coming in. I do a lot of different things. So I besides artwork, I mean, I sell old books, antiquated books. I resell comics. I do a lot with watches. So I've got a lot of different things. That's why Ted Davies artistry is such a broad term. And I did that for a reason, because I think that, when you limit yourself, that's when it limits other people's thinking of what you can do. So, was that Carl? Now, seriously, it does help to have a following in order. Well, that's true. And I will agree with that. And that's something that I'm getting to next with branding. So when you're starting out with the goal, you get your products together. Now you get your setup with your website or with your social media. You need to get your branding together. You need to get your following, the people, your tribe, Ted's tribe. I keep telling people that all the time. I have some of the most loyal people, including the ones around the call, the most loyal people throughout all of my platforms, because I would rather, like I said, I'd rather have 200 and some odd people that see my videos or whatever on my YouTube that are consistently watching them versus 1,000 that don't. Then like 40 people watch them, 50 people. And I see people have that problem with YouTube a lot. They get these huge subscription numbers and they don't have anybody watching their stuff all the way through, and it's not good. And again, diversification's key on social media. What I've been doing too is I've been posting videos on the Facebook pages and, doing this directly, whether it's from the Trenches of Hollywood podcast that I do with Craig Hall out of LA, or, um, TED Talks, whatever it is. I post them directly onto their social platforms too, because not everybody's on YouTube. Not everybody's on Facebook. Instagram, I'm still working with here. So, but you've got to make sure that you've got diversification on all of your stuff, whether it's merchandising, branding, whatever, so that you've got it covered. You've got the umbrella happening so that you've got somewhere to, you've got your hands in every pot, so to speak. So, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. It's just, I don't think you're spreading yourself too thin. You just have to do it and calculate it so that you have enough revenue. You know, I go back to the music industry. I've got friends that are in the music industry have done really, really well for themselves um, over the years, and they make pennies on the work that they do, but it's playing all the time. So, whether it's, country or old rock and roll, whatever, they've been paid, month after month after month on pennies for music that they recorded 30 years ago. Roughly, God, it has been 30 years. 30 years ago, they're getting paid still on. Now, again, that fluctuates, ebb and flow. You can't always count on certain royalties, but it's there and it's done whether you're sleeping or whether you're making more money doing something else. That's the key to all this with the website. Your brand is huge. And your brand is, my brand, it's a funny guy in a fedora that's a pretty good artist, what I think, and a pretty good writer. But my business is compassion and empathy. Um, and I mean that because I want other people to succeed too. I really don't think that every victory is a funeral for somebody else. If you're a victor, somebody else is at a funeral. I don't think it's like that. I think that we can help each other. And that's a paradigm shift that a lot of people aren't ready to, psychologically, they're not ready for. I think that you can be very compassionate in business. And being compassionate means telling it like it is. Don't, I'm not trying to yell at anybody or anything else, but tell them, hey, you know what? If they ask my opinion about something, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I always leave it in a positive light. But if it doesn't sound right, I'll tell them from my standpoint, only if they ask. But I'll tell them if I think it's going to be a good thing. Absolutely. So the third one, like I said, is products. I love these. These are such great accessories here. All right, so branding. Branding is super important. I want you guys to understand that branding is everything. So if you guys are, looking at it from a standpoint of I'm just not, I'm not going to do branding. I think branding is kind of a waste of time. You know what? Your waste of time is your branding. People are going to see you for who you are. Your branding is Ted Davies Artistry. People that don't know me soon know me because I'm all over the internet on stuff with Ted Davies Artistry. The branding's there, the logo's there, my TED Talks is there, and again, it's just trying to build this awareness that there is somebody out there that wants to promote other people, but also build their business. Does a pretty good product, doesn't do a bad job on YouTube, but in branding, web presence is everything. Everything. And that means, as terrible as this is going to sound, your branding is not your personal page. Your branding, if you're a business, it should be its own page. There's things on my business page that I stick to the business stuff. I don't necessarily do on my personal page. And I think that you need to have that separation. I'm not saying that you can't share and you can't do other things with YouTube and all that, but I try to keep a little bit of a barrier there because a lot of people, in this world, they track everything that you're doing on business on personal pages and everything else, and that's fine. I just think that there's a way to do it to be very PC. Some people don't like that, and that's their marketing too. They're not PC, and that it fits a certain niche, and that's cool. But mine is always going to be with empathy and compassion when I'm building my brand. So if any of you guys, hopefully you guys understand that, and I think that you follow me for that reason. I hope. Let's see. Carl says, maybe I'll try designing a mug with badass photo of Donna and myself smoking. Yes, absolutely. I think we should make that into a meme and just send it all over the internet. So I call everybody out here that's listening to this and watching this. Let's do that. Let's get you make sure that you get the copyright or trademark on that photo or whatever it is. We can put a watermark on it. But yeah, we need to do that. That is, I think, the baddest ass couple photo smoking on the internet. That would be awesome, Carl. Now, one of the last things that I want to talk about is, okay, you've got all these things done. You got your goals set. You know where everything's going with your goals. You've got I'm going through the list again, if you can hear me. You got your products. You got your branding all set up. You got your web presence going. And, I'm preaching to the choir. A lot of you guys have already done this, and this is just how I've done it. And this has been multiple businesses. It hasn't just been Ted Davies Artistry. This has been other things I've been involved in that I've learned from, mistakes and everything. But you've done all the work. Now what? You got to execute on it. I see this countless times. Man, I got a great idea. And I've been guilty of it. Man, I got a great idea. I've done all this work. I've got all this stuff done. No execution. There's no follow through on it. There's no you've stunted your growth. You've done it. You've done it all. You're ready to go, and you don't promote. You don't share your workout. You don't share other people's workout. You don't ask people to share your workout. You don't do a YouTube channel, which you don't have to, but you don't do anything to promote your business. You don't post. I'm honest to God, I'm posting 3 times a day on other sites too and other things, at least 3 times a day. And I'm not saying videos, but things, different drawings, different watches I've got on different Instagram and things of that sort. I'm posting at least 1 to 3 times a day. And I'm doing podcasts all week. That's constant, constant content is what we call it. And it produces this momentum. And it also produces frustration for other people seeing me pop up all over the place. But that's it. It's bringing it to the point where, if you're on Google, type in the name and boom, it comes right up. There's a lot of momentum built up in that. But executing it, getting the work done, going on to the Threadless or whatever, getting your products put together, your merchandise, get your books done. And I know it's harder now, I think, because of everything else is happening. Editing and writing and trying to get things over to editors and everything else. I understand that. Brian, I'm sure, pulled his hair out dealing with me, and I understand that. I'm doing a lot of different things, and sometimes that can, things fall to the wayside, or we try to do more than what we can handle during an 8-hour day, and life gets in the way. The van doesn't start, or Calypso is making a mess in the house. Things happen, and you're distracted, but you got to get focused and get the execution down of what you're trying to do. That goes back to your goals. Why are you doing it? What is your, and I was taught that early on in corporate America. As a boss in that, I would be, find out what the guy's or the woman's why is. Why are they here? Why do they? And I always felt like it was kind of um, it was kind of sneaky. In this type of thing, though, it's not, because it's yours. It's your. I'm not trying to motivate you. You can motivate yourself. I can help you, but I'm not trying to. It's not like we're working in a corporation where I'm trying to get you to, be the most productive employee. It's not like that at all. You're doing this for yourselves. You're doing it for your why. What's the goal? You got to keep going back to that goal. If that means a picture up on the wall of the family or of the Maserati or whatever, get to that point in your mind that you're building that. Carl says, good point, Ted. That's why I post something humorous every day. Up to 250 crazy folks following it. I never thought it. Yeah. And it's the truth. And I think Brian understands that very well. I think Brian, he's got it down. He's doing so much more than I think a lot of us do. And he's constantly going. So, you got to find out your balance too. Not everybody's got the drive. Not everybody has the time to do it. You've got to figure out what your balance is to it all. But executing it is so important. If that means making a call, collaborating with somebody, whatever, there's all kinds of ways that you can make it so that you're promoting your business through others and helping them in return. That's it. That's the key. That's the reciprocating of it all. That's how you make revenue. That's how you do it. Now, revenue can be money. Revenue, is structured, I guess, in the dictionary as income. I see it a little bit differently than that because I think that revenue can be, it can be products, it can be trade. There's a lot of things that in business, because a lot of us starting out don't have the cash to front for a lot of these artists or whatever. I've done trade offs on a lot of things. My work is not the cheapest in the world. So, and some people, the initial investment or the initial retainer sometimes has to be dealt with in other ways because that's what the means people have, books wise or product, whatever, trades for um, antique books, whatever. There's all kinds of stuff that we do that is, I consider revenue in a lot of regards. But when you're executing it and getting it to the point where you're building what your world needs and ultimately what the world and encompassing world needs, build it with compassion and empathy. Think about the other person. Think about how they're building their business, and how important it is to include them in it. So where you're all benefiting from it. And that's one of the reasons why we're with Rising Tide. I know I'm beating a dead horse. Rising Tide is that though. The whole idea of it is based around compassion and empathy for others. Okay, Glenn, Mr. UK, hold on. You do. I think that that's probably, and I think that, and this is what I meant by me saying with compassion and empathy. If I tell you something, if you ask my opinion, sometimes it's not what you want to hear. They call it the green boardroom TED. Boardroom TED is not always easy, and Pete knows. Pete can tell you. But I'm a straight shooter when it comes to that kind of stuff, and you got to be realistic, but don't be tearing yourself down. I think that you really have to be aware, but understand that you're the only person that can produce this type of work from this angle. Your perspective in the world is so important. So understand that too. Be realistic. I've seen some amazing money being made off of stick figure comic books. Amazing money. So don't, it's the story behind it, right? But understand that I think Glenn's got a good point, but don't do it because somebody told you can't. I think that that's wrong. I think that is not compassion and empathy way of doing business. I think that we all have a responsibility to each other in certain regards, but we also have to execute on our own to make sure it's working to our benefit. Damien, Ted gave me great advice regarding how I can handle a client. He was blunt, but it's what I needed to hear. Well, and I wouldn't have said it to be a dick. Sometimes I do, but yeah, you have to, sometimes it takes a person that's removed from the situation to tell you how it is. I know Pete has done that. We've gone back and forth in businesses over the years, and we've always been real candid with each other and real blunt, to the point of like a tack hammer to the forehead blunt. No, you can't do that, or no, that's shit, or whatever. Sorry, guys, cussing a little bit, but that's the reality of it. You got to be straight shooter about it. And if you're not, well, then maybe that type of business isn't what you're meant for. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be in business, because I think that write-offs are such a huge thing. Tax write-offs, if done properly, and again, talk to your accountant in that. But there's a real benefit to having a small business, and I think that you owe it to yourself. If you've got a product, if you've got a dream that you want to accomplish, you're not making the dreams for somebody else. You're not, you want to work for yourself. You can do this. There's ways to do this. I've seen people make, six figures a year, doing this kind of stuff. I mean, but it has to be a diversified way of income. It's got to be a varied way of income. There's got to be multiple streams, whether it's publishing, drawing, getting your digital work out there, as far as prints and that kind of thing, getting mugs, getting a funny saying or something together on a t-shirt or whatever. And I'm not saying clickbait, and I'm not saying cash grab, but I'm saying that really look at what the market is looking at and wanting, because I think that you might be surprised. You might be really surprised of what's available to you. And Threadless is free. Go on for Threadless and just plug in your stuff and start promoting it. Like I said, one of the reasons why I've got teddaviesartistry.threadless.com on here today is that my website got hacked. Was it 2 days ago? So I've been in contact with my web guy, and he's handling everything. But it happens. That's another thing. You got to make sure that you've got multiple avenues, multiple platforms when you're dealing with your business, so that you can still access your points of sale, your POS. That means a lot of different things to a lot of people. But having said that, you have to be able, like with videos, perfect example. YouTube goes down. Okay, where are your videos? Okay, I've got them posted in Facebook. I've got them also saved on certain other computers or flash drives or whatever. So you've got to back up somewhere. That's one of the reasons I post, 3 or 4 different posts on stuff, because it's important that these, the material stays active just in case. But with the website and that, nothing happened to it. It just takes, the whole server came down, so they're just revamping it. Nothing was altered or anything like that. But I don't know what that is. Yeah. Well, anyone who knows, knows the difference. Well, sometimes, maybe. But yeah. Well, those are the 5. I mean, those are pretty much it. You got your goal. You got your products. You've got your. Hold on a second. You got your branding. Even I forget. This is too much. You got your web presence. You've got your execution. Don't forget any of that. One other, I'll give you a bonus, a 6th one. Try collaborating with people. I know it's hard because as artists, we're kind of control freaks. If you can somehow collaborate, you'll notice I do that quite a bit now. With Damien, I've collaborated on quite a few things. Glenn, quite a few things, major things now that we're doing, with Comics Unlimited. And obviously Craig out in Hollywood. Carl and I collaborate all the time with cigars. Craig Hall and I have that's a whole nother level, because it's a script writing thing for a bigger venture. So that's huge. But collaboration, it could be something small too. It could be, something for, like I did for Grant, or like I've done for other people, where I do a pinup artwork for their project, or I do a cover like I did for Donna. There's all kinds of things. So collaborate. I mean, there's ways to do it. Rising Tide's great for that because we ended up a lot of it was helped out so much over the last 2 years because I collaborated with everybody from Jeffrey Hayes to Jake Estrada, all kinds of people. I mean, I've done all kinds of covers for people and different type of pinup artwork and on and on. So, and that's kept a lot of the things going. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about what's important. Do we have books? I mean, like with Charles Millhouse, fantastic experience with him. With actually with Pulp Reality #3, which I have a story that I've written and art illustrated in this, which is really good. Check that one out too. But this is a prime example. One of the payouts on this is the books. Fantastic, and you sell the books, you can do whatever with it's just great. But look at it from a standpoint of not what they're taking from you, but what you're giving to them. You're trying to collaborate. That's all I'm saying. Don't be afraid to make sure you can trust the people. Go with your gut. If you don't feel right about it, then don't. But when it's all said and done, set your goal first. Figure out the game plan, and then follow through. It's an easy process. But make sure that you're being true to yourself and that you've got empathy and compassion for the other people around you and the people, you know, uh, even the people that give you gripe on a lot of the stuff on, oh, your artwork sucks, your writing sucks, whatever, whatever. I have empathy for them because they're coming from a place that's, they really don't know what the hell they're talking about. So, and they're some of them they're just not very happy people, and that's their decision. So you can build your business, you can be happy doing it, you can be wealthy doing it. You can help other people as well. Help them get to the point where they're making it. They get a leg up too. And that's it. That's what Ted Davies' artistry is all about. And everybody here, I appreciate you guys stopping in, putting your 2 cents into, because I know it's important. It's important that we're all connected in a lot of different ways. And in today's world, it's extremely important that we're connected in positive ways. I appreciate you guys stopping in. Thank you for listening to me blab for a couple minutes on this topic. I think it's really important you guys build your business. Get on one of these sites that help you produce your merch. Get some of your, as long as you own the artwork and you own what you're producing on those sites, that's a big thing. Make sure that you're being completely legit with everybody, and do something good for somebody else. I try to have a good day, guys. Remember the top 5. We'll talk to you soon.